Welcome back to Thoughts While Thinking. And these opinions are mine and mine alone and nobody else's. And that's the way it is. And another thing, the way it is I'd appreciate your subscribing because that'd help a lot. And we're going to be trying to be doing some of that thinking in that 2% that really think and not in that 3% that think they're thinking. And we cotton picking dang sure don't want to be in that 95% that'd rather die than think. Oh, I'm telling you, he nailed all that's going on right now. There's a lot of those out there that are not thinking. And we're going to talk about the Federal Reserve and the power. And I love my country, but I don't like my government because my government's getting out of hand. And the Federal Reserve is a powerful organization. And old Thomas Jefferson, he said, he feared an armed army more less than he did a bank because a bank had too much power. They could create money and cause inflation or depression or whatever and have more control over you. He was just afraid of the banks. And that's exactly what's happening now. That Federal Reserve is, they print the money, they run that national debt up, and it all started really back in 29 or 30 when FDR started that emergency relief program. And we've had that emergency relief program working and getting deeper and bigger and feeding those fat cats in Washington ever since. And those guys up there, they're just being a real glutton, and they don't know when to stop. They just keep on pulling that money, and the debt just gets to get so much, and it keeps coming back. Say, well, we got so much debt, we got to pass a bill, raise the debt, so we can print some more money and print some more money, and we can manipulate your economy. And so right now we're just blowing the debt off the Capitol there. For the second time in history, we got a more national debt than we do national product. And that only happened to another time than right now, and that was in World War II. So think about that. Think about what that's going to do to our whole overall economy. Look at that, what it's going to be. It's destructive. It's a corruption. And we got a whole city of Washington, D.C. just crammed full of corruption. And, the congressmen, they just, and the Federal Reserve, they just have that magic hat and baton, and they just create all kinds of money, and they just print it all out what they want to do. And when a man talks about sacrifice, he's talking about slaves because he intends to be your master. And that's all we're getting right now is you got to sacrifice this, you got to sacrifice that. And, sometimes I just wonder what the difference between the mob and the government is. Well, the mob, they'll protect you or destroy you, but how much money you want to pay them. And federal government does the same thing. The IRS, they protect you until you don't pay, and if you don't pay, then it's bam, they put you in jail, and that's what it is. And I love my country, but not my government. My government's just gone hog wild. And Ann Ryan, she says that a man that won't take the responsibility for his own thinking is going to be a parasite on other people's thinking the rest of their lives. Well, we got a lot of parasites out there that's just resting on those news media thinking because they're not thinking themselves. And, a lot of this stuff started back when they started that war on the white people. I mean, you can't say you're proud to be a white anymore because you're racist. And, I've been a long time and I don't think I'm a racist. And I'm get upset when I get called a racist just because I'm a white. But I'm going to be proud of being white anyway. If they can be proud of whatever they want to be proud of, and I can too. And I'm like old Mark Twain. He said, I'm not going to allow somebody else's opinion to take priority over mine. and I'm not. I'm just going to stay there and keep talking about my opinions. And what my opinion is the government is overfed, and Congress is in there gobbling up, and they just need more and more because the bigger they get, the more they demand, and the more they get. And Ann Ryan, she says that the only power government's got is to prosecute criminals. Well, if you don't have enough criminals, they'll make more criminals, and that's what all these laws we got are now. So now we got so many laws that you can't hardly take a breath without violating a law and becoming a criminal. And the government is letting us in our border on the south to be invaded, and they're coming in just like a gosh awful army is, and you don't know who they are, where they're going, and what they're going to do when they get here. It's a dangerous situation. It's against national security, and it's against the Constitution because we don't have a border, and country's got to have a border to be a country. And they just primarily the big hit is there on Texas and that Texas border, and that's just getting out of style. And Texas says that it's an invasion and they're going to treat it like one. Well, I hope they do. And those expect to reap the blessings of freedom must undergo the fatigue of supporting it. Thomas Paine, he putting it in understandable words. He says, if you want your liberties and happiness and pursuit of happiness, then you're going to have to work for it. And by golly, we're going to have to get up and work for it because right now it looks like we're losing a lot of it. And, the success is when you beat your fear of failing. And we got to have some success. We got to quit being afraid of failing. And we don't have to agree on everything. We can disagree and still be kind and respectful of one another. We don't have to hate one another because we disagree. And that's what they're trying to push on us, is that if you disagree, you hate us. And that's not the way it is. And, my dad said back in the day, everything ain't going to be perfect. But it's life, and you got to go on and pursue it and do the best you can. And that's all the mule can do is the best you can. And the cowboy logic is be sure you taste your words before you spit them out. Well, I hope I've tasted my words, and I hope they're ringing true. And I'm not asking you to believe them. I'm just asking you to consider them. And there's 6 things that I don't want you to mess with. And that's my faith, my family, my guns, my flag, my country, and my liberty. And I bet you don't want them messing with yours either. So if you got to get up and protect it, you got to work on that. You got to stand up and fight for it. And freedom will never leave these shores as long as there's patriots willing to defend it. And we got to get the patriots up there and defending our country and our Constitution. And I love my country, but I just fear my government because they've just gone viral and out of the wild. And that's my thoughts while thinking and maybe rearranging the prejudices. And it's adios, amigos, and we'll see you on the flip side.